Hello, my name is Saxon Evans, and today I will be presenting my final project, which is the Literature Equity Analysis assignment. So, for my library, I have chosen personal relationships for the theme. This includes familial relationships as well as friendships. For the family aspect, I have a family is a family is a family, Heather has two mommies, and a chair for my mother. These books include interracial relationships, homosexual relationships, and families that are non-nuclear. From the friendship aspect, I have Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away, A Friend for Henry, Best Friends in the Universe, I Walk with Vanessa, and Strictly No Elephants. These books explore interracial friendships, friendships between children with disabilities, and friendships between differing cultural backgrounds. This library has two overall themes, being family and friendship. For family, they explore different family dynamics that are present in our society, whether that be families with homosexual parents, foster parents, grandparents playing a parent role, and many others. They also emphasize the importance of family bonds through these stories, especially in A Chair for My Mother, which is centered around a young Latina girl who lives with her mother and her grandmother who have to rebuild their life after their previous house is burned down with the help of their community and through their hard work and perseverance. Friendship is also explored through showing friendships that blend different cultures and through focusing on how difference does not equal incompatibility. This is shown through interracial friendships and friendships between people with intellectual disabilities and neurotypical friends. As you can see on the slide, I've rated the collection's representation scores in different categories. For my library, I rated the race representation a 9 out of 10 because every book, except for one, includes interracial bonds through either friendships or families. I rated socioeconomic class a 4 out of 10 because many of these books don't touch on the hardships or benefits that come from different socioeconomic classes. I rated gender a 6 out of 10 because some of these books do explore homosexual relationships as well as relationships between young boys and girls who can still get along despite their gender differences. I rated culture a 7 out of 10 because different cultures are displayed in this book and brought to light many times, but they are not delved into very deeply. For family and friendship diversity, I gave a 10 out of 10 because each of these books includes relationships that combine different cultures, races, genders, etc. As you can see here, I've taken out some key parts of the library and listed them for you. I'll start with a quote from Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away. It reads, "And I live with my mommy and a hamster. She has a mommy, a poppy, and a cat. We're mostly the same, just like our apartments." This comes from one young Latina friend comparing herself to her friend who's moving away. She is multilingual, and although her and her friend are of different races and different cultural backgrounds, she shows that they are similar in many ways. Another quote from A Family is a Family is a Family reads, "Some of the kids were dads when he met mom. Some were moms when she met dad. Now we all belong to each other." This quote is important to the overall themes of the library because it shows that even though two different families can share many differences culturally, economically, etc., whenever love is involved and friendship and relationships are built on a steady foundation, that love can persevere and bonds can be made. The picture from I Walk with Vanessa is where Vanessa makes a friend after being bullied throughout the book based on her looks, her cultural background, and being new to the school. The young girl who walks with Vanessa is unnamed in the book, but despite their differences, she decides to walk with her and give her a chance because she realizes that she would not like to be left out like Vanessa is. All of these texts have many strengths, especially pertaining to the themes. One that I'll start out with is that the texts encourage inclusivity and advocacy for yourself and others. Through many of these books, we can see friends and parents advocating for their counterparts and allowing for differences in cultures to be normal and to be accepted. They find pride in having friends that are different from them, and they learn many valuable lessons from their counterparts. Another strength in these texts is that they introduce new relationship dynamics. I think that this is very important for young children to learn because many children are used to seeing only their mother and their father's relationship. If they do not have any access or any exposure to relationships that might be interracial, homosexual, anything that is non-nuclear, they might find it difficult to accept these things, and that is why reading texts like these is good to show them inclusivity and different relationship dynamics. Another strength is that these books educate children on different cultural aspects of others' lives, and they can show children why some people might dress a certain way, talk a certain way, or react to different social situations in different manners. I think that each of these things are very important for young children to learn, and that they will very well aid in character development and acceptance of others who are different than them. There are also some weaknesses in these texts, one of them being a large lack of concepts relating to religion and differing religious practices. This is a big part of culture and familial and relationship differences that I wish would have been played into a little bit more in these books, because it is a very real issue in our society today, as many people find it hard to understand why people would believe other things than themselves. And I think these ideas being addressed, even though they are heavy in children's books, would be very beneficial for younger generations to learn that it is okay to believe in different things, and that it is not an end-all be-all to have different religious beliefs. Another weakness that is seen in these texts is victimization being overemphasized. I personally feel that this is done in A Friend for Henry. I believe this because the author bases this book off of her son, who does have a mental disability. Her son has autism, and in the book, it is very hard for him to make friends. Now, I am not trying to discredit any autistic individual's experience with having difficulty making friends. However, in the book, she does show many children getting frustrated and angry with Henry, which makes Henry feel sad and like he will never find a friend. And although this may happen a lot, I feel like it was a little bit overemphasized in these books and may have been drawn out because of some of her personal opinions centered around her son, who the book is based off of. Along with what I have just said about A Friend for Henry, I think one place that could be improved in these books in the library are accuracy and bias. Now, while many of these books accurately show different lifestyles and issues pertaining to these differences, some of the books have personal bias due to the author's opinions and experiences. I also feel that cultural depth could be improved, as different cultures, are depicted in these books. But since these stories are short and meant for children, the cultures are mainly just identified and not explained. I feel that if we went into a little bit more depth of some cultural practices and why they are practices, as well as cultural beliefs and things that are accepted in some cultures and considered rude in other cultures, would be beneficial to have included in these books to bring a little bit more awareness to the fact that everybody is raised differently, and despite different beliefs, we can still get along and find common ground throughout different cultures. If you have any interest on reading further in books with themes like these, I have created an extended collection here. One book that I would recommend is The Other Side. This book is about a young white girl and a young black girl who live on different sides of a fence. The fence is meant to divide them, and they believe that this is because of their race. At first, they just watch from afar, and they wish that they could play with each other. But eventually, they come to the conclusion that the fence is a place where they can meet, compromise, and play, and that they are meant to interact with one and each other. Margaret and Margarita is a story told in Spanish and English. This bilingual story follows two young girls who become friends at a playground despite speaking different languages. And I think both of these books are very good reads, especially pertaining to this theme, because they show how, despite different racial differences and cultural backgrounds, that it is still possible to be friends and build relationships with people who are unlike yourself. This brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you found this informative and entertaining. I also hope that this inspires you to read some of these books and to get an insight as to what younger children of the next generation might be reading and learning from their literature. Thank you.